Welcome to the Grouphome Riches podcast. If you have the desire to be your own boss, create your own schedule, and become financially free while at the same time helping people in need, then you've come to the right place. At GroupHomeRiches.com, we teach people exactly like yourself how to get started in the group home business, and on this podcast, you're going to hear their stories firsthand. Welcome to the Grouphome Riches podcast. Today's guest is Winston. I think he's been with us just a little over a year. Excited to hear his full story. We've been going back and forth. There's been a couple bumps in the road, couple ups and downs, but he is rocking and rolling, just opened his first property. And we're going to talk about how to find not just the next one, but the next 10 to 20. Winston, welcome.
How you doing today?
Why don't you give the folks out there just an introduction, let them know kind of your background, where you're located, and then just like right from the beginning, what made you even want to look up how to start a group home?
All right, cool. So my name is Winston. I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The house I have is located in Redden, Pennsylvania. That's Berks County. It's like an hour away from Philly. I got into the group home business because I used to be a home inspector, and I was always dealing with different real estate agents and just coming across people who was just trying to invest in properties. And it was just like, I was just figuring I'm already kind of in the world of real estate, not buying the properties, but I'm inspecting them, making sure everything is right with them before people purchase them. And I just was like, I wanted to buy some properties, but I'm like, I wanted to get like tenants, but I was just like, I don't know if that might be the way, the route that I wanted to go. So I wanted to buy properties, and I know I wanted to like make some residual income, like a side income. But at the same time, I just started doing research, and it was just like most landlords really wasn't making that much money off their properties. And I'm like, I want to make some money, but I don't want to just make $300-400 a month. And possibly I might be dealing with a headache from the tenants, depending on if I got good tenants or not. So just say my wife, her mom was living she was in a situation, and she was in like a rooming house. And it was, I used to have to go take her groceries or just go pick her up. And it was just like, I ain't gonna say a slumlord, but it just looked like they wasn't taking care of the property the way they needed to take care of the property. So my gears started turning in my head. I started kind of looking on the internet, just looking for ideas. And some crazy reason I just came across, as I was in my safari just searching, Grouphome Riches. I just started reading into it. And it was just like I started going on, I started doing my research on you guys, just looking on that like YouTube and looking at the reviews and just seeing how the feedback people were, I guess people that dealt with you already were saying, and everything was pretty good. So, I wanted to proceed, purchase the course, like the $299 course. Then it was just like, y'all was doing like a sale, and y'all was like, if you get the website and get, I forgot what else I had to get. And you was just like, y'all offered it to me for a good price. And I'm just like, it was under $1,000. So I figured under $1,000 to invest in myself, it just seemed like a no-brainer. And I got the course, studied it. Like, I think I probably studied it like twice. I would sit, ask my wife questions, any questions I had, everybody on y'all team, I would email. They got back to me pretty fast, giving me good answers or just pointing me in the right direction. I started looking for a house. It was a little struggle at first. It was like, just say when I was looking for the house, it was like summertime. It was about to be summer. So it was a lot of people probably looking at the same time. I was getting outbid on things. That was getting me a little discouraged, but, I still had a plan. So I just figured whenever I got a house, that's what God just had for me. Whatever house I finally got, that's what I was supposed to get. I finally purchased the house. I probably got my first tenant. It was like the house is in pretty good shape. So I really didn't have to come in and do too much work, maybe just like paint and just like cosmetic touch-ups. I got my first tenant from the VA in Berks County. They got like a Veterans Affairs office. But before all that, I didn't even meet them. Like, just going through the course, I had to start doing my initial just like marketing and advertising.
We'll rewind a little bit to kind of go over those first steps, because if you think about it, think about all the back and forth and like the steps that you were taking to even get to that point of confident enough to get the property. I got a couple questions for you to we'll kind of rewind a little bit, especially
Okay,
for
cool.
like the beginners out there, right? So before we do that, you brought up Grouphome Riches, finding us the products. We'll make an introduction for the man that put all that together. Andy, want to give a quick introduction to the folks out there?
Yeah, real quick. Yeah, I mean, I've been doing this for a long time, very actually similar to Winston. I mean, I was like, there's an opportunity here. I could smell it, I could feel it, I could sense it. And I was seeing articles in newspapers about people at hospitals not having anywhere to go afterwards, or at the VA not having anywhere to go afterwards. I looked around, I saw that there were other people doing it. Nobody really wanted to tell you what they were doing. And I think I paid some guy like $1,500. And again, this is a long time ago. Paid him about $1,500 to teach me the ropes, and he basically just took my money. So next thing I knew, I was over at one of the hospitals, and I got a tenant, put him into one of my properties, and then that tenant wound up introducing me to his caseworker. And the next thing I know, I had about 8 tenants in a little 3 or 4 bedroom home, and I think my mortgage payment on it was probably $700 or $800 a month. You do the math. I think back then I was charging like $550 a head or something like that. And we were helping people out, but I was making good money as a result. And fast forward a couple more years, people asked me what I was doing and how I was doing it. And eventually I put a website together, and here we are 20 years later, and I'm talking to Winston. So
Love it. Winston, let's rewind a little bit, like to the beginning. Like when you were first starting this out, one, you realized that, man, these landlords are only making $300 or $400 per month, which it's typically not that much either. But
I can just imagine now.
So then you found us. Like, what was the first kind of question that you had, or topic that you were just fuzzy out when you first started out?
The biggest thing probably for me was just going to be how I was going to get the house filled. Like how I was going to like meet people, like these organizations. Like I know, like going through the course, because every state different. So, every state might not have the same thing. So the things that y'all were saying, because I think y'all are based out of Texas, some of the things and like, the organizations that y'all might have down Texas, I'm from Pennsylvania, they might not have up here. So, you got to be able to do your own, you got to be able to do your own research. So I think anybody that wants to jump into this is just like, you guys kind of lay the foundation, but you still got to do your own homework and go out there and beat the pavement.
Yep. Do you remember what the very first step that we told you to do was? Your first homework assignment?
The very first one was to start gathering like emails and like go on.
Yep, that's it. That's the first step.
So I think they like go on like yellow pages and just start gathering like names and emails and stuff.
Yeah. Then of course calling them, which it sounds simple, but I think that was where kind of the tough love came in, right? Where I was like, look, you got to get the calls, you got to make the contacts and get at least one person to say, yes, we'll send you people.
Correct.
Right. So
correct.
Why don't you talk a little bit about that? Once you did find the contacts and find out who you needed to speak with, what did you do for marketing? How did you talk to these people? And what was that like?
Okay. So just say like when I first started, I just would start doing like mass emails. I use MailChimp. I would just basically wait on somebody to respond. Then I would just like, I would give them like 3 days. Then I would just start calling. I'm trying to be successful and get this thing off the ground. So I'm like, if I'm annoying y'all a little bit, I'm just trying to let y'all know how focused and how passionate I am about trying to do this. So eventually, just say after probably about like 2 weeks of just reaching out to people, I got a call from somebody from Berks County from the Veterans Affairs office. And they basically asked me like what I had going on. And I was telling them. And they basically asked me to come see the house. I told them yes. So one morning they came and met me out at the house. They looked around. We had a good conversation. They loved the house. They told me everything looked good. Then they basically told me at the Veterans Affairs place, once a month, they have like a town hall meeting. It's called like a crosstalk where you can come. It's basically dealing with everything veterans, dealing with the veterans. So you can come, you can talk, you can, bounce ideas back and forth to people. So basically, me and my wife, we went because we have new business in town. We're not from Britain, we're from Philly. So we just want to start networking with people. So we went to the crosswalk talk. We went to the crosstalk, And we talked for like 10 minutes. You know, they gave us we had a little slide presentation and everything. We pretty much broke down what we were trying to do. We wanted to start in Berks County, and we wanted to start working our way around the different counties in Pennsylvania. And it was just good. It was just like everybody that was there for a central reason. Everybody there pretty much trying to help out the vets. And this kind of like a demand up that area where we at for people trying to do what we trying to, like the services we're providing for the vets. So from the CROSSWALK Talk, the Veterans Affairs place actually gave us our first tenant. They referred a gentleman to us, and I ain't even gonna lie, he wound up being my house manager, and he a great guy.
That is awesome.
I ain't gonna lie. Like he pretty much like for some reason, like because I talked to all the guys that's in the house, but it's like he just another person that they can go talk to. So it's like he was the perfect guy. Like I said, he had the big house to himself for like a month. So he was loving it, but he just been like perfect guy, man. So I couldn't ask for like them referring him was like, it just kind of kicked everything off the house. It just kind of set a good tone from the house because I had a good guy in there and everybody that came in. You know, when I did the screening process, I would talk to him, get all the documents and stuff that I needed. And then I would still ask my house manager to talk to him too. Cause I just wanted to make sure, you know, everybody gonna put on a good face for me because I'm the landlord, the guy running the house. But I wanted him to kind of fill him out too. You know, at the end of the day, I always make the final call if I was going to let him in, but I still kind of wanted to like get his opinion on how he felt about whoever was coming in. So I know the most important thing is just the advertising. Like if you want to be successful in this, you got to be able to advertise and market. Like, and you can't get discouraged. Like a lot of people you reach out to, a lot of people not going to reach back. A lot of people going to tell you they're going to reach back and they're not going to reach back. But you still got to just keep on reaching out to them because eventually they're going to need you. Because I just figured now, me and my wife, we got everything starting to go pretty good. I think I got a game plan that I think that we're going to be able to use now. And we're going to just be able to get the houses filled. But it's like, I just figure all the people who we couldn't get in contact with, I just figure we're going to be the best and the hottest commodity in town. So eventually you want to, if you want to get the people that you're dealing with the best housing and get their situation, help them out the best, you're going to eventually probably come through Coles Care Housing. So the advertising is super vital.
100%. And you'll notice that we hammer that in our content in the course. Like, hey, this is the first thing you need to do is you can call it networking, marketing, advertising, whatever. But we think the very first thing anybody should do is just start establishing those relationships with the referral sources. And you brought up a really good point, Winston, about the follow-up. So it's just, if anybody who comes from the sales or marketing space, they know that like the back of their hand, right? So
Follow-up is everything.
Yeah, that's where the money's at. So there's a marketing rule that you know the 7-touch rule, Andy?
Well, I always say 80% of sales occur after the 5th close. I learned that when I was 17 years old and it stuck with me.
That's one rule of thumb. There's another rule of thumb out there called the 7-touch rule, which says allegedly across all organizations, on average, somebody needs to be touched 7 times.
Yeah.
That could be an email, a voicemail, then they see like a Google ad, then they get another email. Then they're like, oh, this is the guy that's been calling my secretary like once a week. Then they call, then you do the meeting, then you do a follow-up meeting, then you get a contract. That's an example of how it could go. So for the folks out there, yeah, if you're going through the gold course, you have your contacts, you call, you leave a voicemail, and your phone doesn't ring off the hook, do not get discouraged. That's just the name of the game. I'm on the ground a lot more with some of our clients, like a new package we've been doing. I went through the email chain with this one organization. There were 39 back and forth emails before we got the contract.
Yeah.
So, and I know, Winston, that was part of like the coaching program. Like we kept I could tell you, not really discouraged, but I was like, man, you thought it was going to happen quicker, but we were just like, look,
that's
got to keep following up, keep hammering. Yeah.
I wasn't discouraged. It just was like, I just was thinking it was just, everything was just going to happen like super fast, but nothing good. Nothing. What they say. What's the saying? Like nothing that lasts. That's true. Is done overnight. It's a process. It takes time.
Yeah.
So,
Rome wasn't built in a day. I mean, it does take
exactly.
time. Yeah.
So I just had it was a guy, a gentleman that worked for a veterans office, but not in the county that I work for. He works in Lancaster, but it's probably like 45 minutes away from Redden. And I was like you said, I was like trying to communicate with him forever. And I was just emailing him. So just say like last week, he finally got back to me and was just telling me like, I'm gonna be in that area. He was just like, can I go past the house? He's like, I'm sorry, I finally got some time to reach out to you. And it was good. Like I let him go to the house. I wasn't there. One of the guys was home, opened up the door for him. He got back to me, told me as soon as I get another property, let him know.
Nice. So
start doing some business.
The first home is filled, right?
Yes, sir.
So you don't have to give the exact numbers if you don't want to, but we were talking about, real estate being just a landlord and cash flowing $300 or $400 per month, which and you could go further on that. I mean, later on.
I just got to comment real quick because I'm laughing about it. It's absolutely true. I mean, you get a rental property, and if you're lucky enough to buy it cheap enough where the mortgage payment doesn't cost you an arm and a leg, before your HVAC breaks down, before your water heater breaks down, before the roof breaks down, before the tenants put holes in the walls and everything else, you're clearing at most like a couple $100 a month. It's just, it doesn't pencil. May as well run a business, run a group home business and make a couple $1,000 per property after you've paid for all that riffraff, and let somebody else do all the stuff for you. Like you've got your manager in there.
Yeah. So again, you don't have to say the exact numbers, but you're cash flowing a little more than, $200 or $300, right?
Yeah, I can break down, I'll tell y'all how much I charge. And I never had any problems either. Any kickback or anything. I charge for my shared rooms. I charge $700 a bed. So that's $1,400 a room. And so just say I got 2 shared rooms. So both of those rooms make I guess you would say $2,800 a month. And I have 4 private rooms, and I charge them $800. So no, the two double rooms and 3 private rooms, and I charge and the people in the private rooms, I charge them $800. I take $100 off from my manager, so I charge him $700 for his private room.
Nice. So the folks out there could do the math, take your typical market rent out of it for accounting purposes or mortgage, or if it's free and clear, it's just, that's a lot of cash flow. So yeah, now you see why Winston, the challenge now is, all right, how do we get more properties, right? So you have the referral sources lined up, you have people kind of waiting for you to get the next one, and then that's it. It just rinse.
At least, Brandon, I would say at least 5 to 7 people reach out to me every week asking me like, do I got availability and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm definitely confident just moving forward. I kind of got a game plan in my head. I think I can just stick to it. I think doing what I'm doing, and I'm kind of like, I'm a people person. So it's just like the demographic, the gentleman I'm dealing with, I can talk to them, and it just feel like everything kind of is like meant to be.
I love it. Hey, Winston, let me ask you a quick question. What did you buy that house for? How much did you pay for it?
I pay like $180. So just say the housing market up here is it's probably just like everywhere else. It's competitive. I got a good, but I got a nice, solid, good house. So it was just like the house, between me talking to people, then they come and see in the house. It was just like, it was kind of solidified. So when they kind of walk in, they kind of like, this is a nice house. I can see, it's maintained, and people want to be there.
Yeah.
It's a good thing. It's a good house, Andy. And you know what? When you got a good property, I think, and people see that you maintaining it, and they see that you care about your property, they want to kind of go out their way to not be the ones to mess up the property. Like I gotta fall in line and make sure I keep this property looking nice. So
right. The other thing is that I always touch on in a lot of the emails, so number one, you've got the cash flow from the business, right? This is a business that produces real, like stable recurring revenue and recurring cash flow. But
yes, sir.
The other beauty of this business is that you're able to accumulate and buy real estate. Like that is really, if you really think about it and step back, that is the sole purpose of a business. The sole purpose of a business is to create enough cash flow where you can go buy real estate. And I mean,
Sure.
we haven't really gotten into this much. Maybe we have, Brandon, with a couple of our done for you clients and coaching clients. But the other thing you can do, you can cost segregate these homes. It does cost a little bit of money, but if you cost segregate that home, you might be able to write off year one, like $120,000. Like you could take $120,000 loss just from that home year one and basically offset all of your income. So you pay zero income tax. So there's a lot of real good ancillary benefits that come with this business, aside from just, creating a monthly cash flow stream for you.
Yeah, and helping people.
Yeah, helping people. Yeah, that's the main thing.
Yes, it was a win-win.
So kind of on that note, Winston, you had a really good question just about kind of how to structure things before Andy hopped on. So I saved that. Do you want to ask that?
Yeah, Brandon. So I'm trying to figure out now, once I get, because like I said, I done already went and looked at a couple properties. I'm definitely going to probably had his first property probably by, I ain't gonna lie, like January, February at the latest. I'm trying to figure out now, like once I buy it, like, so I got my bank account set up already for my one LLC. Like, do I go get another LLC to start the other properties, or do I just go ahead and go to another bank, open up another business account with the other bank and still just use my LLC I'm using now? But I just have all the, once I get the tenants and stuff in there, just have all the money going to that other separate bank.
Yeah. So the way that I structure everything is I've got it set up where I've got a real estate company, and then I've got basically an operating company. Your operating company is going to be your group home business. And then the real estate company basically collects rent from the group home business. And then the real estate company with that rent pays the mortgage payments, the taxes, and the insurance. And so in a lot of respects, it's like a triple net lease business. You let the operating company, your group home business, take care of everything. And then the real estate company, all it does is just basically pay the mortgage, the taxes, and the insurance.
Okay.
And so you would have two separate accounts and two separate entities for each one. So you're going to have, what's the name of your operating business, your group home business?
Coast Care Housing.
Yeah. So, you got like Coast Care Housing, LLC, and that thing is going to bring in, for sake of argument, you're going to bring in $6,000 a month in rents, and you've got in rents from your tenants. And then you've got your various operating expenses, including the rent, right? So you've got your utilities and all that other stuff. And then you're going to make a rent payment to your real estate company. And let's say you charge, $1,200 or whatever. So you pay them $1,200 to your real estate company, and then your real estate company with that $1,200 winds up paying the property taxes, the insurance, and the mortgage, which is like, maybe $1,000 or whatever. And you walk with $200. So that's kind of how I have everything set up. And that's how I would do it if I were you, because that's how McDonald's does it. That's how pretty much any large
business.
Business is gonna, exactly, knock things out.
All right, that sounds good. That sound right. I just was like I said, I was ready to gear up and go in for number 2. So
I really wouldn't add another LLC. This is me personally. Everyone's risk tolerance is a little bit different. Maybe you put 5 houses in one LLC, something like that. But your operating business, I mean, you could add 30 houses in that thing. It doesn't really matter.
Okay, that sounds good.
As long as you've got good insurance, make sure you got decent insurance for your operating business.
All right, cool. Writing it down.
What type of insurance do you recommend, Andy?
You're just going to have, business insurance, general liability insurance.
It's general liability.
Yeah, that way, if there's a slip and fall, and look, I've dealt with this stuff, unfortunately. So like if there's a slip and fall or something happens at the property, you want your business insurance to wind up paying out that claim. You don't want your real estate company to pay out that claim. Now, your real estate company is there with their insurance in case there's an issue. But by and large, you don't want your real estate company doing that because, look, the name of the game is to accumulate real estate. And if you start filing claims with your real estate company, they've got basically their own, they've got their own credit system, credit checking system, and everything else. The next thing you know, your premiums are going up, and then it just becomes unaffordable to own this stuff.
No, that sound good. That's what I'm gonna do.
And yeah, you guys don't need to be experts at this stuff. Talk to like a business lawyer to help you structure these kinds of things. Same with the insurance, call around, get quotes. One thing that I see a lot of beginners kind of make the mistake of is like, they'll hear that and then they'll get in the weeds trying to figure out the ins and outs of what we just spoke about.
Right.
So, but overall, high level, does that make sense to you, Winston?
Yeah, it does. It does.
Cool.
It does.
And then once you start getting all like the real estate, all the cash flow coming in, there's, eventually you want to figure out how to keep it all. So
Correct.
there's ways to do it. You also had a really great question about just kind of dealing with banks that Andy has a lot of experience with as well.
You said dealing with the banks?
Yeah, I think you were getting at, do you get a mortgage? How do you get multiple mortgages?
Oh, so just say now, and this one question I definitely like. So just say the first house I had to buy, what's under my name, but eventually, you can only buy a couple properties under your name. Like then you eventually gonna have to say it's for a big. They're gonna say, well, how you reside at all these different places. So eventually you're gonna have to put down probably 20% instead of opposed to putting down like 6%.
Yeah.
Or 3% to get the property. Now they want you to put down 20% because they pretty much figuring it's for a business or something.
Yes.
So I'm just trying to figure out like, how do I go about telling these people I want to have it like under my LLC? Like when I go to purchase the property, because I know my lender now, it was when I first was trying to get the property, he was kind of giving me a little like kickback. I don't know if it was because I was first starting, trying to get the business, but that was a question I had, like how I was just going to get, how I should go about, because after this property, I'm gonna have to. That's what I'm gonna definitely have to do. I'm gonna have everything I want to do. I'm gonna have to put down 20% to purchase it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So when we get off the phone, I'll send you over a few kind of national lenders that will actually loan to your LLC. Okay. Now these guys, at the end of the day, they could disappear tomorrow. So you kind of got to take advantage of it while they're out there and while they're actually still lending. So that's kind of number one. So there's probably about 4 conduit lenders out there in the US that'll make those loans, investment property loans. But as the real estate market starts slowing down, a lot of these lenders are going to pull out, okay, of the national market. So then number 2, and really your best option, is to start going in and networking with local community banks. And I say networking, you got to use, do you have the, you've got the gold course and everything else. Do you have that business loan package that we have in there?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I had it.
So that thing is critical. So like, for example, 2008, 2009, 2010, nobody was lending. The FDIC had shut them down. OTC had shut them down. Like you couldn't get money. That basically loan package and loan proposal I used to single-handedly probably take down, I would say 12, 13 properties, which, may or may not sound like a lot, but back then that was a lot for me over, a couple year period. And those are the properties that, I was buying back then for, call it $55,000 to $65,000. And you can only imagine what those things were worth last year, and they're still worth quite a bit. So what you want to do is you want to take that and you want to go in and you start talking to the local community banks. But the most important thing that you're going to need are your tax returns. So you got to have a real good, legitimate operating business, your group home business, and you need to pay your taxes. Like you have to. You can't run everything through your business. You just can't, because they need to show, okay, this guy, he can actually service the debt, the business is making money, so on and so forth. So you go and you basically network with your community banks, say, hey, I want to buy this property. You go in there with a full-blown loan package, and that's what it is. It's a loan package. And along with your loan package, you're going to tell them about your business, and then you're going to prove to them that you're actually making money, because 9 out of 10 people aren't going to pay any taxes if they're running their own business. In this business, if you want to go buy real estate, you've got to pay your taxes, and you got to show, hey, this is what my revenues are. This is what my expenses are. This is what my net income is. And if you do that, you'll be able to acquire a lot of real estate. And yeah, you're going to be putting, 20, 30% down. But at the end of the day, like, if you're buying, for sake of argument, $150,000 properties, that's $30,000. It is a lot of money. But the hardest part is coming up with that first $30,000 and then doing it again and doing it again. Once you do it 3 or 4 times, and then you got to sit and wait for 4 or 5 years until the home starts accruing some equity and growing in value, and you've paid down the debt a little bit. And the next thing you know, you go back over there. Yeah, I mean, you're just going to be able to build up relationships. That's really what you need to do. Now, your other option, the third and final option, is to go and find a local lender, like a private lender. So I've been doing this for a long time. So I buy real estate, but I also make loans. And you need to go find somebody like me in the Philadelphia area that will make loans secured by your property. You go and you tell them what you're going to do. And ideally, what I like to do is I like to buy these properties at 30, 40, 50, 60 cents on the dollar, get in there, fix them up. And then now the thing automatically has, 30 or 40% equity in it, bare minimum. And then, now you're paying, 9, 10, 11, 12%, whatever. But then you go and you refinance it with the local community banks.
Okay.
And you can do all that in your LLC.
Okay.
That's my long-winded way of giving you kind of 3 options for how to accumulate real estate.
Oh, they all good options. All options that I'm gonna explore too. Because like I said, I got a game plan, and I'm just full steam ahead. That's all.
As far as the real estate investing goes, you said that you were kind of doing some research in it before you found us. What did you do any deals, or how far did you get with the real estate investing stuff?
No, just say like I said, I was a home inspector, so I was just dealing with like families who was buying houses, and I was dealing with like investors, people who was like kind of like same thing like me, just trying to figure out what they wanted to do with their real estate. I mean, they wanted to jump into real estate. They just was just trying to figure out what they was going to do. I ain't gonna lie, you guys was the first. Like, I really didn't even start. Like, I knew I was going to buy a house or a duplex or a triplex or something, but I didn't know what I was going to do with it till I really found y'all course. And when I got the gold course, and with anything, even I just feel like, even though y'all did an excellent job, and all the information and everything that y'all gave me had me confident to keep on going on, but you got to have faith in yourself too. Like, you got to, everything, like I said, everything just not on you guys. Y'all laid a foundation, but you just got to have faith and just courage and just knowing you're going to do good. And like I said, man, I just feel as though now, like, this really taught me that whenever you just in the business of helping people, like, man, you're going to always be successful. And, like I said, you guys kind of propelled me like just to do other things, because it was just like, I knew I wanted to do something, because, I go to work, I got a good job, pretty good job, but, eventually I can't work till I'm 40. I can't work till I'm 65. Well, I don't want to work till I'm like 65. I needed to kind of like build my own kind of retirement plan, and that's what you guys kind of helping me do.
You want to be working on a business, not in it.
Yeah. And I just figure like, and I ain't gonna lie, like a lot of people, because people been seeing me and I'm doing good, like, and everything flowing good, but this ain't for everybody. Like, everybody, if you're not a people person and you don't like dealing with people, like, it's probably not going to be something you might not be able to be successful on, or you probably won't be as successful as you want to be. So it's just like, you got to study that course. A lot of people ask me like how I did it, and I told them about the course. Like, you're not going to ever be like, I can sit here and tell you what you need to do, but you ain't going to be successful how you need to be in it unless you go ahead and purchase this course and read it and dissect it yourself.
The best way to learn it, which was kind of back to your point, there's no way that you're going to be able to learn the business inside and out just by reading the course and watching videos. I'd like to tell people, hey, don't think of the course as like a book that you sit down and read. It's just the beginner section alone. You should be going through the videos and then taking action on it. Like, you should be staying in that beginner section for like months. There's months worth of work just in the beginner section for you to follow up on. If you just breeze through the videos, 1, you're not going to retain everything. And 2, you're never really going to learn everything until you actually get out there and like put the work in, like Winston did. Right.
Got to put in that footwork, that groundwork. That's the only way. Any business, group home or whatever business you probably trying to run, your idea, you got to go out. You got to be able to put yourself out there. Sometimes you got to come out your comfortability. I had to come out my comfortability, go meet people I never met before, go talk. people I never talked to before. I bought shirts with my business on there and had flyers. You know, I'm not selling myself because I thought what I was doing was good, but you know, you just gotta be able to put yourself out there.
Yep. That is the absolute first thing that we require you guys to do in our coaching program is pick up the phone. That's it. Start making the calls. And the way we structure it, you know, it's pretty easy. It's not like high pressure sales or anything like that. But even then, I know it's just like the first step that everyone's kind of like nervous about taking. But once you started talking to those people, like how did the calls go? Like with the contacts? Really?
It was cool. I ain't gonna lie. It's like it's just like I genuinely felt like I'm a good people person. I can talk to people. And I felt like I know I'm not going to be a slumlord. I treat the house and I treat the house. I don't want nothing in there that I wouldn't want in my own house. So everybody I talk to, you know, I'm treating it like it's my own house. And, you know, I'm going to take care of everything that needs to be taken care of. I do daily check-ins with guys. I mean, not weekly check-ins. I just text them, ask them everything going all right with them. Need anything in the house? Is any problems? Stuff like that. So yeah, I just think everything been flowing pretty smooth for me.
Love it.
A good environment in the house. All the guys pretty much get along. Well, they all do get along. Like for the most part, you know, you're gonna have hiccups. For anybody just living together, I had a couple hiccups. Talked to a couple guys, got it all squared out. Haven't had any issues since. So, you know, I'm just trying to keep that same energy in the house.
That's good management right there. I mean, a lot of it just boils down to management. I mean, finding the right person. Obviously, you've got the personality for it, Winston, but interestingly enough, there are people that don't necessarily have a people person personality, and they go out there and they try to find somebody with the people person personality. And if they're successful in finding those people, they can partner up with them and they can do very well also. But you know, you've got all the abilities and all the natural gifts. So just makes it easier, you know, when you've got that. Those are God-given gifts, right? I mean, obviously you can hone your personality, you can make yourself a more friendly person, but at the end of the day, I mean, chances are you were like that from the time you were a little kid.
Correct. So it was just like you said, Brandon, because I never even answered the question. Just like reaching out and already establishing them relationships, like through emails and just on the phone. So whenever I just had to like meet people face to face, it just felt like, you know, I was just a lot more comfortable. And it was just like, you know, they was telling me like, all right, I feel good seeing you. I'm putting a face behind, you know, the emails and everything. And I'm like I said, I'm 40, so I'm not young, but I'm not too old either. So getting into it now, like the people I've been dealing with at the agencies, they kind of like just seeing that I'm still a little younger and I'm trying to help these people out. So, you know, I think I really got people that want to see me win that's going to help me out.
Yeah, I think a lot of people kind of have a misconception that they're going to be hard to talk to. They're going to be asking a lot of like tough questions. They're going to be expecting you to be like an expert, and it's totally not like that. These people
it's not. They need you just as much as you need them.
Bingo. That's what I tell everybody. Once you find the right person, it's almost like they're the ones that are selling you on their program, right?
Once they know you got good properties and you taking care of whatever the people they dealing with, that's the main thing. They just want to make sure wherever they going somewhere where, you know, whoever's overseeing that property is treating them people right.
Yeah.
So they real, like everybody I dealt with, everybody was super cool.
Cool. And most of the people that even come to it, like if you find us, chances are you have a really good personality. You're looking for a way to help people. That's the personality that's we find is kind of the foundation. And then it's about learning all the business stuff, right? The marketing, the management. For you, it's the real estate side of things. So Andy gave a whole bunch of game, kind of higher level stuff. Your just your likability and your personality, like that we talked about, that's going to be huge in that next step as well. So I would recommend you start going to local like real estate networking events. Have you ever gone to those before?
No, I haven't. But I definitely know, like I said, I definitely know I got a group of like realtors and stuff. I just got a good connection with realtors because I used to do the home inspection. So, you know, I still had connections with them.
Cool. I would get to the networking events check out meetup.com.
Mm-hmm.
There, you'll be able to find people for all the next steps at those places. You could also reach out to your current network, just let them know what you're doing, what you're looking for. But at, through the local, real estate networking, you're going to find that number 3 option that Andy said, like a private investors. So once you get to the point where Andy's at, like, you want to have your money work for itself, right? You want your money to work.
Yeah.
Correct. You're absolutely right.
And if I can comment real quick on that. So this is for everybody that's out there. I remember vividly 20 years ago going to these networking events and even, 10 years ago going to these networking events, thinking to myself, you know what, why would anybody come here that has money that they want to lend out? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. And now here I am, I'm 45 and I'm like, dude, I don't want to do the work anymore.
Right.
I mean, because at the end of the day, we've said this since the very beginning with Grouphome Riches, this is not a get rich quick scheme. This is a get rich for sure scheme, right? And it's not a scheme. It's like, we're out there, we're providing value to the marketplace, we're housing people, we're housing those that need it most, and we're able to acquire real estate. But at the end of the day, it is a lot of work. But anything is, if you're going to make money, it's a lot of work. The easiest money you're eventually going to make is lending your money out. You just got to make sure you lend it out to the right person.
Right people.
If you don't, they wind up leaving. So where I'm going with this is, don't jinx yourself. I'm not talking to you, Winston. I'm just talking to the people that are out there listening. Don't jinx yourself and convince yourself that there's nobody out there that wants to lend out their money. Trust me, there are millions of people that have got, 50, 100, 200, a couple $1 million laying around, and they want to find somebody like Winston to lend their money out to. So,
yeah, I guarantee you, Winston, there's people like that at these meetup groups looking for somebody like you. And that's where your understanding of the business, learning how to explain it, understanding the basics. We have a pitch in the course about finding a capital partner. It's pretty much the same combo whether you're going to be speaking with a landlord or if you're pitching this to an investor. So check that out and reach out if you need any tips on that end. Okay. Also, there's a whole bunch of other types that are out there. You know what wholesalers are, right?
Yeah, I do.
So
like wholesalers, like wholesale properties.
Yep. So you can start networking with them and get access to off-market properties that need work.
Important,
right? Eventually you can learn to do what the wholesalers do themselves, which is what me and Andy do. So we do the marketing to find, motivated sellers. And you heard Andy say the numbers, we get them for like 30, 40, 50 cents on the dollar by doing that. That's a whole other ball game. In the beginning, you can kind of just work with wholesalers and pay them their fee, whatever, and you still get like really good deals. Sometimes be careful.
Right.
They're not all deals. Do not trust their numbers. Do your own due diligence. And on that, you'll find like contractors go there to look for investors to work with. You'll also find, eventually you're probably going to want to have an operational manager. So right now you're not, you said you do like your 1 weekly check-in, just checking in with the guys. It's probably not that much work, but you could imagine if you had 20 of these things, it might be.
Yeah. So, a lot of people. Right.
So
That's folks.
A lot of the people that go to those meetup groups are just like, the young hustler type that want to quote unquote do real estate. They're not really sure what they're doing. Sometimes that's a really good profile for an operational manager. So yeah, I can't stress enough just the importance of networking. And that'll be a great place to start for this next level that you got going on.
All right. Appreciate it.
Well, I need to wrap it up. So Andy, did you have any parting words for the folks?
No, I mean, I think more than anything, you guys just take action. If this is something that you want to do, use Winston as inspiration. You got to get going. You got to get going quickly. You just got to go do it. Got to go do it. Nothing succeeds like success, and you got to get out there and just take action. So
I would recommend Winston is a great example of kind of how to use the course and use our services. So he had the gold course. Yeah, he went through the stuff, but I'm looking through our chat history now. He was constantly reaching out if he had questions, if he had issues. And we encourage that. We're always going to get back to people, especially if we notice that, like we tell Winston, hey, go get X amount of contacts and a solid referral source. And then he checks in a couple months later. We're going to continue working with folks until they're rocking and rolling like Winston. So,
and that was great.
Yeah, I commend you for doing that. I loved looking through this history and kind of seeing what you're doing now.
Thank you.
Winston, do you have any parting words for the folks and want to let them know where they can reach out to you?
Oh yeah. So I just want to tell you guys, thank you. Y'all kind of like I said, I was already kind of entrepreneur, like in my head, what I was trying to do. I just couldn't really connect the dot. You guys kind of helped me connect the dot with that. So I appreciate it. Anybody else, I can be reached at. I'm from Philadelphia. My house is in Redden, PA. So, if you just want to reach out to me, you can reach me at colescarehousing@yahoo.com, or you can reach me at my website at colescarehousing, www.com, colescarehousing. I'm always here to help anybody who, just might have some questions. They might not be as comfortable reaching out to you, to the big guys. You can always reach out to me and I can help you out. So, and that's pretty much it. Appreciate you guys.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on, Winston. Thanks for sharing your story. Keep in contact with these next stages. Like I said, we're always here to help. We want to see you guys win, and we look forward to seeing you get a couple more of these and coming on for part 2.
Yeah, I'll let you guys know when I get this next property. Like I said, I'm about to go look at a couple in the next few days.
Love it.
All right. Love it.
Cool.
All right, folks. Have a good holiday.
Awesome.
All right.
Thanks, Winston. Bye-bye.
Thanks.